going on, YouTube? How's everybody today? Good to hear. Today I want to talk about this kind of like folk singer, folk country indie rock. It's also known as new school folk or country music that's armed to the teeth with punk rock attitude. That's how Rae Spoon describes his music. The fourth studio album is called Superior, You Are Inferior, released in 2008 on Socan, Alberta's Foundation for the Arts. Rae Spoon is a female to male transgendered person, lives in Canada, lives in Montreal right now, but was born in Calgary. This album is 11 songs, 40 minutes long. And I guess his inspiration for this album was his identity was causing a little bit of controversy, and he had to hide out in East Germany, in a town in East Germany for a while, and that's where he wrote this album. Inspired by, like, I guess, alienation and discrimination and just, like, I don't know, misunderstandings and stuff like that. I think it was recorded in Calgary, though, with co-produced with Rae Matheson, who's another, like, Canadian Calgarian singer-songwriter type person. I first heard this song, Come On Forest Fire, Burn the Disco Down, on a local radio station, college radio, CJSR, and I really liked this song. And they're always trying to, like, there's a lot of debate, like, is it he, she, and they're, you know, look up pictures, but I guess he, like, identifies himself as male, so it's he now. But yeah, this song's really good. I played it on a few Saturdays, but the majority of this album is just, like, folk country, indie rock, fusion music, and what he's doing different on this album, there's a lot of, like, computer and, like, electronic flourishes. There's a little bit of, like, noise inspired, a lot of dissonance, and, you know, bleeps and bloops. It blends well with the music. Rae Spoon was born in 1982 in Calgary, has a singing voice, even though she identifies himself as a male now, he's a male. Still has a very effeminate voice, very emotive, heartfelt. It sounds like Sinead O'Connor. It sounds like a little bit hurt and confident at the same time. All his songs are pretty well written. Like, they're not all like slow tempo, mid tempo kind of folk songs. There's a couple other songs in here that have, you know, a little bit of a pop sensibility, but for the most part, it's just kind of like sad and deals with a lot of darkness and issues like discrimination and loneliness and isolation. Also, to identify himself as a Canadian, he puts a lot of Canadian landmarks in his music. He'll sing about the Great Lakes in Ontario, the Calgary Tower, prairies, the oil rush is mentioned. Yeah, it's got a pretty catchy single on it. It's got a variety of instruments on here besides just the typical bass guitar and drums, like cellos, banjos, glockenspiels, organ, steel guitar, computers, pianos. But yeah, it's a pretty endearing album. Like, it's got a pretty rich sound. It's very well produced, pretty fun to well, I wouldn't say it's fun to listen to, but it's, you know, engaging and stuff. It doesn't shove like gay rights and like equal treatment down your throat. Just songs about personal experience and just like emotions about that and stuff too. It can be kind of sappy, I guess. Artwork in here just looks like a Canadian brochure of sorts, like your elk and a map of the Great Lakes and like eagles and like people in a canoe and lodges, and just making Canada look like it's very kind of bush league country with a lot of forests and woods and stuff, and doesn't really have anyone living in an igloo yet, but a lot of scenery, I guess, just from touring and just being on the road a lot, I guess, is the kind of perception you'd get. I'm surprised there's no like wheat fields and grain towers or anything like that on here. Although there is the Calgary Tower. Where was that? If you guys have never been to Calgary, it's actually not too far from where I live. Home of the Calgary Flames. Yeah, fourth studio album, released in 2008. Yeah, if you're like a fan of like slowed down indie rock, heartfelt indie rock, a lot of folk and country in it. If you're a fan of like Joni Mitchell or Nico Case, another artist that gets always brought up when they are talking about Rae Spoon online is like Katie Lang, but I don't think these guys have anything in common except for maybe like, I don't know, but yeah, it's an alright album. I enjoy listening to it. It's kind of a downer, a lot of sadness and stuff on here, but the single on here is really good. If you guys have to check out just one song, I'd check out Come On Forest Fire, Burn the Disco Down. Released in 2008 on Socan, Alberta Foundation of the Arts. Rae Spoon, funny title, Superior, You Are Inferior. Another funny song title on here is that I really liked is My Heart is a Piece of Garbage, Fight Seagulls Fight. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, Pretty interesting person, pretty interesting character to read about, look up and stuff. Canadian artist. Pretty interesting sound she has going on. Rae Spoon.